Have you ever been so scared that you felt a physical change in your body? This is how it works. As soon as you recognize fear, your amygdala, the small organ in the middle of your brain, alerts your nervous system, which sets your body's fear response into motion. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released, then your blood pressure and heart rate increases. This makes it easier for you to start throwing punches or to run for your life. So have you ever been so scared that you did something that later you thought, wow, what was I thinking? And I don't mean a small thing like watching a scary movie alone at night and then checking to make sure you locked your doors just in case a psycho killer is out checking for unlocked doors of people watching horror movies. And I don't mean something scared you right then and there and you panicked, which triggered your fight or flight reaction. I mean that you got scared, had time to process the situation, then did something that seems beyond all reason. That is what this true story is about, and about how far we may go if we get scared and follow the mob. It's 1789. 20-year-old Raquel Harris was courted by Captain Isaac Burton, a deacon in the Congregational Church in Manchester, Vermont. His service in the Revolutionary War had earned him the honorary title of captain among the townsfolk of Manchester. This captain took Raquel Harris as his bride, and she was described as the very picture of vibrant wholesomeness and comeliness. Sadly, Raquel fell ill with tuberculosis, known as consumption at the time, and died in 1790 at the age of 21. While dying, she told her husband not to worry because she will always be with him. Her death deeply affected him, and he lived in seclusion in a large home he had built for her. Then in 1791, the captain remarried a woman named Huldah Powell. Tragically, within months of their marriage, Huldah began showing signs of the same wasting disease that had claimed Raquel. Desperate to save his second wife, the captain summoned doctors from throughout the region to no avail. As Huldah declined, female relatives began taking turns caring for her. She died in 1793. It was after one of these vigils that an elderly aunt offered the captain a theory as to what was happening to Huldah. She claimed that Raquel's wicked spirit was draining Huldah's life force. She said, "It's the one who went afore that's to blame." The captain realized she was referring to Raquel's dying proclamation that, "I'll be with you always." The aunt insisted it's got to be burning. That's the only way to stop the heart beating sure. This aunt thought that Raquel had returned as a vampire whose intent was to steal the life force of Huldah. And she convinced the townsfolk that this was the case. In the winter of 1793, an ominous procession rounded its way to the Meads Mill Cemetery, carrying pickaxes and shovels to Raquel's grave. Led by Timothy Mead, the village's magistrate, the party unearthed her coffin beneath the cold, icy ground. Raquel's body was exhumed. Her corpse was bloated and barely recognizable. Huldah's aunt cried, "Gorged on the blood of its victim. Look, see the stains about the mouth." Timothy Mead officiated, stating that the abomination must be destroyed to save Huldah. Her heart, liver, and lungs were removed and burned to ashes on the blacksmith's forge before a large crowd of people. Her organs, now putrid after over 2 years in the grave, were removed and transported to the nearby forge. There, townspeople crowded in hushed awe as Mead consigned the rotting entrails to the scorching flames. The smoke drifted upward as if delivering the remains heavenward for cleansing. Many claimed to see a strange apparition writhing in the smoke, although none could quite explain what it was. Despite the ritual and a rumor that the ashes were mixed with water and given to Huldah to drink, as this was one of the ways believed to cure vampirism, Huldah died months later. Apparently, the desperate cure had come too late to save the captain's second wife from the vampire Raquel. In the coming years, some claimed that it was witchcraft and not vampirism that had claimed both those women. Raquel, Huldah, and the captain's third wife were likely buried in a cemetery that is now paved over. He and his fourth wife lie in Delwood Cemetery. Raquel's exhumation was just one incident in a 18th and 19th century New England vampire panic. caused by tuberculosis outbreaks and superstition. Over 2 centuries after the exhumation of Raquel Harris Burton, a gathering converged at the gates of Factory Point Cemetery to grant the accused vampire a long overdue amnesty. Manchester officials got with local historians and preservationists to unveil a memorial marker adorned with Raquel's name and history. While in her young life she suffered consumption and post-mortem mutilation, she is now remembered as a victim of tragic superstition. How these situations end up going this far, who knows? In early history, these fear type of stories served as warnings or tried to explain things like disease and climate events that could wipe out entire towns. And as the printing press became a thing, scary tales of ghosts and other creatures became profitable, and came newspapers that got in on the act with the "if it bleeds, it leads" type of storytelling. And today it's probably worse. Once the penny dreadfuls evolved into the fear porn for profit, with TV news and now the internet, with commentary that's just fake outrage, gloom, and fear, the lessons and values these stories used to teach have been tossed out for the quick buck. And I can't blame them for doing it. It seems to be what people want, and maybe have always wanted. So I just watch the horror show and try not to get too caught up in it, so not to be led into the equivalent of digging up corpses who may be vampires for someone else's gain and profit, while they keep their hands clean and I get covered in their filth and muck. Good night.